Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So as I promised, it's the end of the month. It is June 30th and I've got my final outing out with the X-Pro3, which is right here. And as you guys can see, I have the Summicron 35 f2 Leica lens adapted to it. I'm using the Fuji adapter, and again, mainly because it has the ability to do the bright lines and a little bit of programming in that adapter to make it a lot faster to set up the camera for the type of analog lens that you're using, right? So I was able to put in that I was using a 35mm, and it of course put that focal length profile in there for me, and you know the camera will do what it needs to do with any corrections that it's able to do in camera for the lens. So I wanted to give you guys my final feedback on going back out and trying to use a adapted lens. And now granted, it didn't have to be a Leica, but I have an M6, so I shoot film, and I managed to get me a Leica lens over the past couple of years. But I wanted to adapt the lens to this for a second time and try to go out again and see how it did. Now I recently did a video about giving it a second try, and I'll put the card up at the top for you guys to click on and watch that video. But again, I said in that video that I was going to go out and shoot some images for the rest of the month to get a really good feel for this, and then give you guys my overall feedback on how I think the combination went, how well I think I did, some things that I would do differently, as well as, you know, exactly what I really liked the most about it. So with that, let me at least show you a couple of the images on one of the outings so you can get a feel of what the lens and camera combo is able to provide. Now, I mentioned in the previous video that I wasn't going to shoot any video, but on my last outing today, I did get out and do some video with this combo as I was shooting. And, you know, I want to go ahead and show that video now so you guys can see what that video looks like. Again, there's no type of image stabilization going on in this unit, of course, with the lens. So this is all handheld. So if you see any shake or jitters, of course that is me hand holding this and moving the camera around. But okay, now that we've seen some video, let me give you guys a little bit of feedback on how I think the camera performed. Basically, let's just start off with the fact of it is an adapted lens. There's no autofocus on here. Everything is manual when it comes to focusing the lens to the camera. The biggest asset to being able to do that is, of course, to set the camera up to shoot in manual with the lens so that you can use some of the manual focusing tools that the camera has. I particularly like to use focus peaking, where it will put a highlight on the areas that are in focus. As you guys can see, I like to use the blue highlights. It doesn't seem to get in the way of colors that I might see while I'm out in the wild of the streets doing my imagery. And so that's why you see the blue highlights, and I don't use the red. This helped a lot, more so than I thought it would. So that leads me into, let's look at what it did and didn't do for me, okay? First thing we'll start off with is, again, what it didn't do for me. It didn't give me autofocus. So I had a few more misses on trying to focus than I thought. And here's a few images showing those misses. Now, are these bad images? No, not bad. It's just I misfocused. I didn't quite nail the highlight peaking on the subjects to really kind of get the images in a lot better focus. What else did it not do for me? It didn't work well with the LCD when it came to looking through not the LCD, I should say, the EVF. When it came through, looking through the EVF, they always seem to be a little darker looking through the EVF, even though I took off auto adjust and all that stuff. It wasn't as crisp as I hoped it would be, like it was on the LCD screen. So in a lot of cases, I'd rather had not used the EVF at all. When it came to the OVF, really is not a real true benefit, because you get the frame lines, yes, which I think has a lot to do with the way you set the lens up in camera, which again this adapter does. But I just don't know. I wasn't feeling it. I didn't really give it 100% try. I kind of wanted to use the EVF and was hoping that I would get a better resolution coming through the lens into the camera on the EVF than I got, and I just didn't quite get that. So those were the big things. As far as the use, I've used manual focus on Fujifilm autofocusing lenses, so that part was not too bad. Just had to basically remember what my setup was and how I was dealing with it. But as I go into what I liked about it, as far as the images, when you nail focus, when you nail the focus peaking, the images are sharper than I expected them to be. I don't know if that's a factor of the lens that I'm using, and I assume it is, because the characteristics of the lens has a lot to do with the image sharpness and the picture characteristics as well. But when you really nailed focus, you knew it when you saw the images later. They were just sharp as all get out, to the point where I plan on using this combo a lot more in the future. The other thing I liked about this is how it rendered the image. They made my Fujifilm images, which look great with their film simulations, look even more like film. Again, I putting that on the characteristics of the lens and what the lens is able to do when it comes to what it renders on the sensor. That was actually a delighter. I mean, it went from where I had some really sharp, clinically sharp, if you will, images, to where I had images that were sharp, but they had a wonderful vibe to them, wonderful color profile, film and grain. I mean, it was really nice, and I was really happy with the results that I was getting using this lens and this camera combo. I would assume with the other Fujifilm cameras I have, like the XS20 that I'm using to do this talking head piece on today, my XH2S. What else do I have that's interchangeable? I would even dare to say my XH1 that I have pretty much now as a keepsake, that I would get the same quality of images with the use of this lens and the adapter. So that was a nice delighter. Other nice delighter was the LCD screen on this camera. If it wasn't for the LCD screen, I don't think I would have had the best experience trying to see my focus peaking. The LCD screen that everybody loves to hate or hates to love, you know, with the way it flips out, you know, the orientation of the screen was not more of a concern for me than the fact that it was able to show the focus peaking a lot better than the EVF. So that was another super delighter. So as I scroll through the images, as I've been giving you the feedback on this camera and the lens combination, you guys let me know how well you think the camera and lens combination did based on what you see. I'm ecstatic. I'm a more of an avid believer now than I was before about adapting lenses and not using you know, autofocus lenses designed for a mirrorless camera. For those of you who have the ability to adapt a lens to your mirrorless camera, do it. Have some fun. Enjoy the limitations. The biggest limitation here, of course, it slowed me down. It made me think more. But there were some surprises. Another good surprise was the focus, the zone focusing that I did. I was able to stand at an object kind of where how far I would want, or how close I should say I would want to be to my subject, set the focus peaking, and physically see everything that was going to be in focus in that range. It kind of backed up the scale that you see on the camera, or I should say the lens, you know, the focus zones there. And it was phenomenal in a lot of cases where I was able to basically point and shoot from the hip and so forth, and really enjoy using this combo. So with that, I wanted to keep this one short and share with you guys, you know, the images and the content and my feedback on this, and with that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's keep growing the channel. Hopefully you guys are loving everything that I'm putting out. Again, put in the comments what you think about the combo, and do you shoot analog lenses on your mirrorless camera? You know, hit me on Instagram. You know, let me know what hit me with some images that you guys have. I'd love to post some as a follow-up on another video on or even on the podcast video on what you guys have done adapting lenses to your mirrorless cameras. With that, have a good one, guys. Enjoy your week.